Hi guys, in this video we're looking at GCSE English Literature focusing on unseen poetry. So the first contact phase is the first thing you should do when you see the question, and it's also known as a 3-minute scan. Before you write down a word, you must establish the voice and the arc. So you look at the title. Does it suggest a literal subject or a metaphor? For example, the mirror usually isn't just about glass, it's about identity or aging. Then you look at the persona. Who is speaking? Is it a poet or a character? Are they speaking to someone or is it a monologue? Then we look at the pivot. Look for but, yet, or a change in stanza length. This is where the mood shifts. This is the turning point, also known as the volta. Then we look at the grade 9 SMILE method, and we use this acronym to ensure you cover all technical bases. So letter S stands for structure. Then we look for, is it rigid, known as controlled, or free verse, chaotic? Look for enjambment, which is sentences spilling over lines, suggests a loss of control or a fast-paced thought. Then you look at the letter M, which stands for meaning, which means what is the poem really about? The surface meaning versus the symbolic meaning. Then we look at I, which stands for imagery, and here we look for metaphors, personifications, and similes. How do these images make you feel? We then look at L, which stands for language. Here we look for semantic fields, which are a group of words related to one theme like war or nature. Look for plosives, for example, B, P, D sounds for anger or violence. We then look at the letter E, which stands for effect, and we look at how does the reader react? Why did the poet want you to feel the specific way? Structural gems for top marks. Grade 9 students often ignore structure. To stand out, identify these. So we look for caesura, which is a stop in the middle of a line using a period or a dash. It creates a fractured or stuttering tone. Then look at cyclical structures. Does the poem end where it began? This suggests a lack of change, a trap, or an eternal truth. Then we look for stanza breaks. If the poem looks broken on the page, the subject's mind or world might be broken too. Then we look at the 3-step analysis, which is the layering technique. So when you pick out a quote, don't just say what it means. Layer your analysis like this. We first look at the identification. The poet uses a violent metaphor in quote. We then look at the zoom in. Specifically, the verb word carries connotations of. Then we look at the alternative interpretation. While this could suggest your first idea, it might also imply the second idea, highlighting the speaker's internal conflict. This perceptive or tentative language about they might also imply language using words like perhaps, might, or could is what gets you to grade 9. How to tackle the comparison, which is the 8-mark question. So we're going to do a separate video on this as well, but usually you get a second shorter poem and have to compare how they convey a theme. You don't summarize, you focus on the methods. Use comparative sentences, such as similarly, in contrast, conversely, and whereas. You look at the both openings, so you start with a sentence that unites them. Both poem A and poem B explore the fragility of memory, yet while poem A uses natural imagery, poem B utilizes industrial metaphors. The golden rule for unseen poetry. The why is more important than the what. If you see a bird in a poem, don't just say, there is a bird. Ask, why is it a crow and not a dove? Why is it trapped in a cage? Why does the poet want me to feel pity for it?